She posted, "Finally dating someone who treats me right, while still living in MY apartment." I didn't argue. Just serve her a formal 30-day eviction notice. Her new boyfriend's face when he realized she was technically homeless was, "I, 31 male, have been with my girlfriend for 3 years. We've lived together for the last 2 in an apartment that I lease solely under my name. She moved in after a previous roommate situation fell apart, and, at the time, it made sense. She was saving money. I was in love. You know how it goes." Quick background. I work as a project coordinator for a logistics company. Nothing glamorous, but it pays well and I've been smart with money. The apartment is a decent 2-bedroom in a nice area. Rent's about $1,850 a month, which I've covered entirely since she moved in. Her contribution was supposed to be groceries and utilities. Supposed to be. After about 6 months, even that became inconsistent. She'd forget to pay the electric bill. She'd come home with takeout instead of groceries because she didn't feel like cooking. I let it slide because I loved her. Stupid, I know. Anyway, things started getting weird about 4 months ago. She became distant, always on her phone, tilting the screen away when I walked by. Started working late at her retail management job, which I found interesting since her store closes at 9 p.m. and she'd roll in at midnight smelling like bar food and some cologne that definitely wasn't mine. When I asked about it, she'd get defensive, said I was being paranoid, said her job was stressful, and she needed time with friends. I'm not stupid. I knew something was up, but I also didn't want to be that guy who goes through his girlfriend's phone like some paranoid freak. So I waited, watched, said nothing. Last Tuesday, I was scrolling through Instagram during my lunch break when I saw it. A mutual friend had liked a post, and there was on my feed. My girlfriend, in some dude's arms, at what looked like a nice restaurant. Caption, "Finally dating someone who treats me right, 2 hearts, 6 weeks, and counting." 6 weeks. She'd been dating this guy for 6 weeks while sleeping next to me every night in MY apartment, while I paid for the roof over her head. While she complained about the way I loaded the dishwasher, I sat in my car in the parking lot for about 20 minutes just processing. The betrayal hurt, sure, but honestly, what hit me harder was the disrespect. The sheer audacity of posting that publicly where people we both know could see it, while still using my Netflix, eating food from my fridge, and sleeping in sheets I bought. She didn't even have the decency to hide it. That's what killed me. She just didn't care if I found out. I didn't call her, didn't text, didn't confront her when I got home that night. She was working late, again anyway. Instead, I did something I probably should have done a long time ago. I consulted with a lawyer buddy from college who does tenant law, explained the situation, asked him what my options were, bought him a beer and a burger while he walked me through everything. Here's what I learned. In my state, since she's not on the lease and doesn't pay rent, she's technically considered a month-to-month tenant by occupancy. I can terminate her tenancy with a written 30-day notice. That's it. No court needed unless she refuses to leave, and then I'd have to go through formal eviction proceedings. He helped me draft a proper notice that night, made sure it was legally airtight. So Thursday evening, I came home early. She was actually there for once, sitting on the couch scrolling through her phone, probably texting him. Didn't even look up when I walked in. I set my bag down and handed her the envelope. "What's this?" she asked, barely glancing at it. "Your 30-day notice to vacate," I said. "I need you out by November 15th. The way her face changed was something I'll never forget. Confusion, then shock, then this weird sort of panic I'd never seen from her before. She actually dropped her phone. "Wait, what? You can't just... We need to talk about this." "No," I said. "We really don't. Is this because of the Instagram thing? Someone showed you, didn't they?" "Look, I can explain." "I don't need an explanation," I said, keeping my voice level. "You're dating someone else. That's your choice. But you're not doing it while living in my apartment rent-free. You have 30 days. She started crying, told me I was being cruel and vindictive and acting like a child. Said she needed more time. Said she had nowhere to go. Said I was ruining her life. "You have a boyfriend," I reminded her. "Move in with him. We've only been together 6 weeks. I can't just, that's too fast." I almost laughed. Almost. "Then I guess you should have thought about that before you decided to publicly announce your relationship while still living with me. Maybe should have secured housing before you started showing off. She tried everything that night. The tears, the apologies, the "we can work this out" speech. At one point, she even tried to kiss me, which was genuinely revolting given where her mouth had probably been. She grabbed my arm and said we could go to couples therapy for her cheating, while she was still seeing the guy. The audacity was almost impressive. I just repeated the same thing. You have 30 days. I slept in the second bedroom that night with the door locked. Didn't trust her not to try something weird. That was 4 days ago. She's been giving me the silent treatment, which honestly has been kind of peaceful. But I know this isn't over. She's been on the phone constantly, and I've heard her crying to what sounds like her mom and her sister. Yesterday, I heard her say he's being completely unreasonable, and I have rights too, you know. Part of me feels guilty. We were together for 3 years. That's not nothing. But then I remember that Instagram post and the 6 weeks of lies, and the guilt evaporates pretty quick. She could have just broken up with me. That's all she had to do. Instead, she wanted to keep her free housing while she test drove the new relationship. I'll update if anything happens. Knowing her, she's not going to go quietly. Update 1, day 9. So, things have escalated. A lot. First off, thanks for all the support on the original post. Some of you asked if I was sure about doing this, and yeah, I'm sure. The more I've thought about it, the more I've realized how much I was being taken advantage of even before she started cheating. 3 years of paying for everything while she saved money that she then spent on clothes and brunches with her friends. Never once offered a split rent. I was basically her sponsor. Anyway, here's what's happened since. Day 5, her new boyfriend showed up at MY apartment. I came home from work to find this dude sitting on my couch, drinking one of my beers from my fridge, watching my TV like he owned the place. Just lounging there in basketball shorts like he belonged. My girlfriend introduced him like this was totally normal. Oh hey, this is the roommate I was telling you about. Roommate. She called me her roommate. 3 years together, and I'm the roommate. The guy stood up to shake my hand, all friendly, and I just looked at it. Didn't move. I'm not her roommate, I said. I'm her ex-boyfriend. The one whose apartment she's being evicted from because she cheated on me with you. Did she mention that part? The look on his face was priceless. Pure confusion. You could actually see him trying to process it. He turned to her. Wait, you said you two were just friends who shared a place. You said he was basically like a brother to you. We should talk about this later, she said quickly, grabbing his arm, trying to pull him toward the door. No, let's talk about it now, I said, blocking the hallway. Did she tell you we were together for 3 years? That she moved in here as my girlfriend? That she's been sleeping in my bed, in this apartment, while dating you for the past 6 weeks? He went pale. Actually pale. His whole expression changed. You were still together? Like actually together? Oh yeah, very much so. Until I saw her Instagram post about how she's finally dating someone who treats her right. I pulled out my phone, showed him my own screenshot. See the date? See the location tagged? That's while she was still coming home to me every night. He left without another word. Didn't even say goodbye to her. Just grabbed his jacket and walked out. She screamed at me for about 10 minutes straight, calling me every name you can think of. I just made myself a sandwich and waited for her to run out of steam. You ruined everything, she finally sobbed. I was going to tell him eventually. No, I said. You did that yourself. 21 days left, by the way. Day 7, her mother showed up. This was fun. I've always gotten along with her mom. Nice lady, always friendly to me at holidays. Told me multiple times how happy she was that her daughter found one of the good ones. She texted asking if she could come by to talk while my girlfriend was at work. I figured I'd hear her out. You need to reconsider this eviction, she said, sitting across from me at the kitchen table like we were negotiating a business deal. No, I don't. She made a mistake. People make mistakes. You're throwing away 3 years over a moment of weakness. Is your pride really worth destroying what you two built? 6 weeks isn't a moment, I said. It's a decision. And posting about it publicly while still living with me isn't weakness. It's disrespect. It's thinking I'm so stupid I wouldn't find out, or so desperate I wouldn't care. She loves you. She's just confused. She told the whole internet she's finally dating someone who treats her right. while living in my apartment. For free. That's not confusion. That's entitlement. Then she hit me with it. Changed her whole tone. You know, her father and I could make things very difficult for you if you go through with this. Excuse me? She's told people you were controlling, emotionally abusive, that you isolated her from her friends. If you force her out onto the street, we'll make sure everyone knows what kind of man you really are. I know people. I have friends who work in HR at several companies in your industry. I just stared at her. This woman who'd hug me at Christmas, who'd thank me for taking such good care of her daughter, was now threatening to destroy my career if I didn't let her cheating daughter continue to freeload. Get out of my apartment, I said. Think very carefully about what you're doing. Get out. Now. She left, but not before telling me I'd regret this decision. I immediately documented the conversation in an email to myself with the timestamp and everything I could remember verbatim. My lawyer buddy said documentation of threats like that could be important if things go legal. Day 8, my girlfriend tried a new approach. Suddenly she was sweet, like a switch flipped. Made me dinner. Actually cooked for the first time in months. Wore that dress I always liked, the blue one. Sat next to me on the couch, put her hand on my knee. I've been thinking, she said softly, and I was wrong. About everything. I ended things with him today. It's over. Completely over. I choose you. I choose us. You chose him 6 weeks ago when you started dating him. I'm just accepting your choice. I made a mistake. Everyone deserves a second chance. Remember when we first met? Remember how good we were together? I remember paying for everything for 3 years while you cheated on me and called me your roommate to your boyfriend. She went to bed crying. I didn't feel bad. Day 9 today, I discovered she's been telling people a very different story. A coworker texted me asking if it was true that I kicked her out for having male friends. Apparently, she's posting in group chats and telling anyone who'll listen that I was paranoid and controlling, and that I'm evicting her because she hung out with a guy from work a few times. No mention of the boyfriend. No mention of the Instagram post. No mention of the 6 weeks of cheating. Just poor innocent her, being thrown onto the streets by her crazy, jealous ex. I responded to my coworker with a screenshot of the Instagram post. The one where she's literally wrapped around another man, captioning about finally being treated right. Timestamps included. Haven't heard anyone defending her since. Funny how that works. 15 days left. She still hasn't packed a single box. Not one. She's just living here like nothing's happening, like she thinks I'll change my mind. This is going to get ugly. Update 2, day 23. Final update. This is finally almost over. Day 15, she still hadn't packed anything. Not a box. Not a suitcase. Her stuff was everywhere like she was planning to stay forever. I reminded her she had 2 weeks left. Showed her the calendar I'd put on the fridge with the dates circled. She laughed at me. Actually laughed. I'm not going anywhere. You can't actually make me leave. I looked it up. I have tenant rights. You're right, you do have rights, I said. The right to a 30-day notice, which I gave you. If you're not out by the 15th, I file for formal eviction with the court. Sheriff shows up. It goes on your rental record permanently. Good luck getting approved for an apartment anywhere decent with an eviction filing on your history. This seemed to finally get through to her. The smugness disappeared. She spent the next few days actually packing, though she made sure to slam every cabinet and drawer as loudly as humanly possible. Passive-aggressive doesn't even begin to cover it. She also started accidentally breaking things. A coffee mug, a picture frame. Nothing I could prove was intentional, but I knew. Day 18, the boyfriend reappeared. This time when I wasn't home. My neighbor, older guy, retired, notices everything, told me about it later. Said he saw some guy carrying boxes out to a truck for about 2 hours. Looked like they were arguing the whole time. When I got home, I noticed things missing. Things that definitely weren't hers. My good kitchen knives, the Japanese ones I saved up for. A Bluetooth speaker I'd had for years. The standing lamp from the living room that I bought before I even met her. The air fryer my brother got me for my birthday. I texted her, bring back the knives, the speaker, the lamp, and the air fryer, or I file a police report for theft. Her response, those were gifts. You gave them to me. They were never gifts. I have receipts for all of them. I have photos of me using them from before we even dated. You have 24 hours to return them. You're being ridiculous. They're just things. Then you won't mind returning them. The next morning, everything was on my doorstep in a cardboard box. No apology. No note. Just my stuff, slightly damaged but there. Day 20. She played her final card. She called the police. On me. 2 officers showed up while I was eating dinner. Said a woman had called reporting that she felt unsafe in the home and that I'd been threatening and intimidating her. I could see her watching from the hallway, arms crossed, looking satisfied. I stayed calm, invited them in, showed them the original eviction notice with the date stamp, showed them my lawyer's documentation, showed them the Instagram post, explained the whole timeline, showed them my phone with no threatening messages, just reminders about the move-out date. One of the officers actually sighed. Sir, this appears to be a civil matter. We see this kind of thing a lot. As long as you're following proper eviction procedures, there's nothing criminal happening here. His partner added, we'd advise both parties to just keep your distance until this is resolved. Don't engage. After they left, I heard her on the phone with her mom, voice cracking. Even the cops won't help me. He has them fooled too. Day 22, the real kicker. Her new boyfriend dumped her. Officially. For good. I know this because she came home sobbing so hard she could barely breathe and threw her phone across the living room hard enough to crack the screen. Apparently, once he realized the full extent of the situation, that she'd been mooching off her ex-boyfriend while starting their relationship, that she'd lied about me being a roommate, that she tried to get the police involved, he decided she wasn't worth the trouble. From what I overheard of her subsequent phone call with her sister, he told her he couldn't trust someone who could lie that easily to someone she supposedly loved for 3 years. She also found out he had roommates. 3 of them. There was never room for her at his place. There was never a plan. She just assumed she could either keep living with me indefinitely or magically convince him to get a place together after 6 weeks. Neither worked out. Day 23, today, she moved out. Not gracefully. Not with dignity. Her dad showed up with a rental truck at 7 a.m. He's a quiet guy. I'd always liked him. He wouldn't make eye contact with me the entire time. Just loaded boxes in silence. Her mom came too and supervised while giving me death glares. At one point, she muttered something about cold-hearted, loud enough for me to hear. I just sat at the kitchen table with my coffee and watched them work. The best part? Her dad had to make 2 trips because she had more stuff than he expected. She'd accumulated a lot of things over 2 years of not paying rent. Before she left for the final time, my ex came back into the empty living room. I thought she was going to scream at me again, or cry, or threaten me. But she just stood there, looking around at the bare walls. I hope you're happy, she said. I hope this is exactly what you wanted. It's not what I wanted, I told her honestly. I wanted a girlfriend who didn't cheat on me and post about it online. But you're right, I will be happy. Eventually, she left, slammed the door hard enough to shake the frame. I changed the locks an hour later. It's been 5 days since she moved out. The apartment feels different. Not good different or bad different. Just quiet, empty in places it shouldn't be, but also lighter somehow. Like finally putting down a heavy bag you didn't realize you were carrying. I found out through mutual friends that she's living with her parents now, in her old childhood bedroom. At 29, apparently the new boyfriend's place was never an option. The roommate thing was real, and none of them wanted her there. She was betting everything on either keeping me as her backup housing or somehow convincing a guy she'd known for 6 weeks to sign a lease with her. Neither panned out. Her mom tried to contact me one more time, sent a long email about how I destroyed her daughter's stability and how it would be my fault if she struggled to get back on her feet. I read it once, then blocked the address. The smear campaign fizzled out pretty quick once people saw the Instagram evidence. Hard to play the victim when there's a time-stamped photo of you cuddling another man with a caption about finally being happy. As for me, I'm doing okay. The apartment is quiet. I've been cooking for one, which is weird after 3 years. My friends have been checking in. A couple of them admitted they'd suspected something was off for months, but didn't know how to bring it up. I wish they had, but I get why they didn't. The thing is, I don't feel like I got revenge. I didn't slash her tires. Didn't blast her on social media. Didn't try to get her fired or ruin her other relationships. I just stopped letting her use me. That's not revenge. That's just finally having some self-respect. Someone asked if I felt guilty. Honestly, sometimes. At night, mostly. 3 years is a long time. Not all of it was bad. We had good moments, good memories. But every time the guilt creeps up, I remember that Instagram post. The finally dating someone who treats me right. Like I'd been some obstacle to overcome. Like I hadn't spent 3 years paying her way. She made her choice. She just didn't expect consequences to be part of the package. So yeah, that's my story. Not a happy ending. Not a triumphant revenge story. Just a guy who finally stopped accepting disrespect and found out his apartment is a lot more peaceful with only one person in it. Thanks for reading. Take care of yourselves out there.